computer, right?
Or you open?
You may need it though. Because you're president.
Are we?
Treasurers don't need it.
We are recording.
I know that. Could you do me a favor and open up the chat and the participants?
Yeah.
So we can see them. Thank you. Although our typical participants.
Shut this.
I can watch the. I'll watch both those.
Okay, we're good. We're good, everyone. Like to call this meeting to order of the December board meeting at 5:34 p.m. We have Marie Gavazzi, Angela Suff, Anthony Moen, we know that's any same up, Evelyn Greenstein, Samantha Hertler, Mary Drysdale, Haley Hertnett joining as a speaker, and Tim Fergal. I almost forgot your name.
Me too.
Is Brenna not joining tonight? Did I know? Do I have to find that?
Just
No update. Yeah.
So I'll go to this board meeting next week and ask. Okay. Any public comment? We have no public.
Somebody online.
I'm a little sad about that. All right, so we're gonna move on. This is great. We've already gained about 5 minutes. Speaker presentation. So Keely, you're up. You got about 5 minutes. Or
And the way that we would typically do this, right, is Kaylee would talk a little bit about just kind of her background, introduce herself, and then talk about what's going on at the library and at the circulation desk. So Kaylee, it's all you.
All right, so my name is Kaylee Hartnett. I'm head of circulation here at the Troy Public Library. I've been here since the end of March of this year in 2025, and man, have we had a time since then. We have done so many things. A little bit about me, but before my time here at the TPL, though, I've been working in libraries since I was 16. I'm a library kid. I was the head of youth services at the Putnam Valley Library for just under 2 years. So I was finishing up my master's. Then I worked in school libraries for a hot second while I was finishing up my degree. And then I moved on to the Poughkeepsie Public Library District as a library clerk, and then moved up to children's librarian and then to teen librarian. And then I found the opportunity here to bring my over a decade worth of experience in libraries to the Troy Public Library, share my experience, and also learn from our community. So that's a little bit about me and my background. And then, okay, so first order of business here, September is Library Card Sign-Up Month. So the ALA does this program to encourage libraries to really garner the community together to support the library and gain access to the library through their library cards. We did a program called Libraries Are Groovy. If you guys want to pass these around to both ends, these are our punch cards that we did. We had 210 people in both branches participate in this program by using these punch cards every single time they signed up for a library card, use their library card physically or digitally. And we were able to get we're able to have 229 brand new accounts created in September of 2025, which compared to August was 130 and then 170 in October. So we can really see how our library card sign up month endeavor and program works. Yes. Ashley versus
by Amy Ben, and he never completed it.
That's all right. We went in, we used our library card. So people.
In case anyone's wondering about the disco snail, there was a viral TikTok clip with a disco snails song.
So we use that as a sound on one of our promotional items, and that went pretty viral for what we call it for our page. It was very successful in the engagement of the community in a digital sense, but then engaging the community through our library card signups. We were able to give so many more people access to the library and bring them in. So we can see that that was a success in September, and we have to do something like that again in the future and get our numbers up even more.
Is the start of school, like the significance of September being the sign-up month? Just for my own knowledge.
Technically, it's like, I forget if it's the second or third week. It usually falls around September 14th. So it's like a culmination of the start of school, the end of summer reading. So I think just between those two things is why it's generally done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, so moving.
Can I
Oh,
ask a
yes,
question?
of course.
Do you have a copy of that? Would we get one after? Is that okay?
Oh, of this? Yes, I
Or are they
can
just notes?
Yeah.
I included, this is Kaylee's report that she provided to me, and then I put that into my director's report under the circulation.
We got that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys have all those
I'm
numbers.
just thinking,
Oh, that-
what do we do, like the appeal letter, I'm saying, what would be great to.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great idea, yeah.
Wonderful. So moving on from that to the people who were supporting this program and supporting our circulation, we have hired 6 people into the circulation department since June or end of May of this year. Currently, we have 4 of those staff members still on staff, and they are absolutely wonderful. They've been very successful. We have had our library associate in conjunction with me training them, and they've been very successful in their training and their integration into the TPL library staff, which is so important since we are so short-staffed that it has been very difficult to have the minimum number of staffing at the circulation desk at both locations in order to keep with our safety and security guidelines with minimum numbers of people in the building. So that being said, moving on. So with our staff over the summer, we were closed for a total of 34 days because of the heat during the summer. So that number is also included in the director's report. And so because of that, we were not able to allow people into the building, but we still wanted to provide library services to the community during this time and keep that standard of service up to where we could during that challenging period of time. And our circulation staff, they went above and beyond in helping me enact our emergency curbside contingency plan and having our staff members come in for those days when we were able to offer out curbside. We were able to offer out curbside for a total of 11 days. And during those 11 days, we had 206 curbside interactions. So those were 206 patrons who were still served with face-to-face interactions during the time when they were not able to come into the building. And all of this is because of our circulation staff here. If they were not here, if they were not willing to go that extra mile to come into this building, we would not have been able to provide any service to our community during that time when we were closed. And we all know how frustrating that was as a staff and as a community to experience. So to be able to allow them access to, kind of a truncated list of services, but we were still able to provide what services we could, and that was because of my circulation staff. Even within then, it was still tough to be able to coordinate this curbside contingency schedule because we only had a certain number of staff. We also had to be mindful of their safety while they were in the building as well. So that was our library curbside. And then the last thing I'm going to speak on today is just in general, the number of days that we have been closed due to staffing issues. So this is outside of, we have our building, we have our facilities issues, we have the reasons that we have to close because of that, but we should not be having to close because of staffing and short staffing issues. I would love to be able to have my staff take days off and request that time and also be able to come in and feel safe in the building within the numbers that they have and that they have time to have the training, the off desk time to work with our librarians to do these projects and this deep library work that as of this point in time, it has been a struggle to get them off desk to be able to do that, to assist with other library endeavors that we are working on in other library projects. The other thing with being on desk for, say 7 hours a day, you are in front of the public and you are having all of these interactions. A lot of them are positive. We definitely have our negative interactions too, or those interactions that are based in trauma, where people are coming to us as a public face. They have no one else to talk to, nowhere else to go. And my staff is the smiling face that they see when they come into the building. They're welcomed in, but sometimes they feel like they are in a safe space to share these stories. But then we're thinking about the impact of these stories and lived experiences of our community members who may have experienced trauma in their lives for one reason or another, that they are then sharing with our staff. But then what does that weigh on our staff? I would like to have my staff not be on desk for that full 7 hours, be able to pull them off desk, give them time to work on other projects, give them time to do continuing education. If they would like to or are pursuing an MLIS, I would like to be able to support that and give them training and experiences to be able to help out with programs, create book displays, and do other projects with librarians. So all of that being said, with an increase in staff in the circulation department, we would hopefully be able to mitigate the amount of days that we are closed due to staffing because of the short numbers and the lower numbers on the circulation staff, and that they're the ones who keep the books moving through the building and through the community. And they're the ones who the community comes in to see, they know their names, they have conversations, they have relationships with them. And being able to support the circulation staff by increasing their numbers would be absolutely integral to the success and the building of the foundation of what we are trying to do here at the TPL.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Very welcome. Any questions?
Yes.
Right.
So I know that you were at the Sanctuary for Independent Media's event. So is that typical for you as a circulation person to go to represent the library at those events, or
Yeah, so
is it because of lack of staff?
it's because of lack of staff for sure. So when it comes to these outreach events, we want to make sure that staff are comfortable speaking in front of the public and that they know how to operate at an outreach event. So that leads to the training that we need to provide and the time that we need to have to give them that opportunity to learn those skills. But speaking as to why I went, I have previous experience at other libraries doing outreach and was knowledgeable enough about the TPL policies and practices and programs that we're offering and all that other fun stuff that I was able to go to that program. It was also right before our budget vote. So it was important for us to go out in front of the community and share information about what they can use and benefit from the library that they already have access to.
Just to add on to Kaylee's point, really, it is normal in libraries that have library problems for staff to be involved with the outreach. We have had to turn down a lot of outreach requests that we get because the only folks who are typically available are the managers. So like, and again, to Kaylee's point, today we had 3 people call in, so we had to have a lot of the managers stepping in to work on desk at here and at Lansingburg in order to keep both of those buildings open. So it's been a challenge to do outreach events in general.
Yeah, it definitely has. And if we're looking to send circulation staff out there, I need to have enough people at the desk to A, be safe and B, be productive. And that goes the same for Lansingburg as well. So unfortunately, we just happen to have the numbers to pull people off desks and give them those opportunities.
I'm curious, during your training, do you train on emotionally heavy situations, or how
So
does
we have a very basic type training that these employees go through just to know that they will encounter these experiences. We do have trainings that we have gathered, such as trainings from trauma-informed librarianship. But
And just to step in, so when Kaylee's talking about training, she's talking about kind of the day-to-day procedural workflow at the CERT desk. You know, like she said, some of it is very lightly touched on. The library does have access to virtual trainings through Ryan Dowd, and I forget what he brands himself as, you know, the homelessness librarian and things like that, which again, it's a whole thing. And then with our quarterly staff town halls where we close the library once a quarter to do sort of staff-wide professional development. This came out as a result of the creation of the safety committee, but a number of the staff, there have been a number of trainings on de-escalation, working with people who have trauma. And those more like focus workshops will typically happen on sort of a wider scale than outside of Kaylee's department.
I have a lot of questions, but I'm not gonna do them all right now. No, it's really helpful, that's great, I think.
wonderful.
I'm wondering a couple of things,
And I should also step back and say that I asked Kaylee and the other department managers when they were doing their reports for the board this month to talk about kind of the year that they've had or just looking at 2025 as a whole. So that's why we were focused on some of the numbers throughout the year rather than just November statistics.
Yeah, but we're coming on the end of year anyways, and so everything is coming together with all the different stats. The numbers have been awesome. I cannot wait for you guys to have the culmination of all the hard work of our staff and, being able to have those numbers.
That's couple. How many staff do you need? And I know that's a loaded question because Tim, you probably have a strong answer, but Kaylee, how many do you need?
Right now, at this point in time, a full-time library assistant would be the most helpful. I have one full-time staff at this point in time, and all the rest of the staff are part-time staff to minimum hours. So being able to patchwork together the schedule has been challenging. We've been able to do it, but having another full-time library assistant available every single day would be able to help out with the spots and the gaps when people do call out. Or we have other situations, or people have lives and we want them to be able to live them. So a full-time library assistant at this point in time would be very helpful.
Other things, these are small, but I think on the radar, not small, but in terms of planning, we're gonna have to coordinate over the next 6 months, long-range planning and also a review of our director, which will be more of a 360 review with department heads. So there will be more opportunities to talk over the next 6 months. And
Wonderful.
that's exciting.
Definitely is.
Staff recognition. Favorite cookies from staff, I don't know. Tim, it's so silly, but we wanted to see if we could do a dessert or something at the holiday party, unless we're gonna do.
No, actually, I think we were doing a cookie swap at the party. So
There's a staff cookie swap, so I don't know if the board wants to make cookies and swap for the rest of the staff. But I mean, with the holiday party there, we are asking people to bring potluck desserts, and we have some desserts catered as well. But I believe chocolate chip cookies would not be far off base.
they're a classic for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Point of just a clarifying question, it's separate this year,
Yeah.
right? Like you're just doing a staff thing, you're not like
Yeah.
doing work. Okay,
Yeah.
just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
You're the only one
At
I
all.
Yeah.
No, that's great, that's good, that's good.
I did mention to Freda about doing like a friends and board holiday get together or something, but then Freda was like, I don't, no offense, but I don't want that.
It's just hard
It's
to
like,
add
yeah.
another thing in the month.
Yeah.
See like a picnic over summer.
Yeah, how about it
And-
not be in December?
And honestly, that's kind of my thought. With this one, again, we are asking the friends to take on the full cost of the holiday party, as opposed to having the staff members pay for it. And the idea is that the summer gathering, could be, staff, families, board, friends of the library foundation, do a, more of a cookout.
I don't know if you guys are doing the same place, but it might be worth looking at the businesses that were really supportive of the library.
Mhm.
So,
I have been buying a lot of juice for the staff, is what I'm saying.
All right.
Mhm.
That's a good opportunity to find supporting organizations. That was great. So, any questions?
What's the date of the holiday party?
It's Friday.
That's right, yeah. December 12th.
All right. We're good.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I hope you've had a great rest of your evening. On that note, we'll bid you adieu. If you need anything else.
No, thank you for your work, Haley. We appreciate it.
Good night.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed outreaching with you. You were
Greta.
a lot of
needs
fun
a
and
pass-
much.
Oh, thank you. She is trying to get on, but she needs a passcode. And I don't know, and I didn't want to interrupt what was happening.
Is she trying to get on the link on the website?
Yeah, I emailed the link to her in case she didn't see it, and she said she needs a passcode, and I just took the link off of the agenda.
Tim, do you have a passcode there?
I do. I'm looking at grabbing that.
Okay.
It's right
What
here,
is it?
actually.
Yeah,
560647.
so 5606 what?
47.
7.
Uh,
Alright, let's see what happens.
That'll be. Going to do secretarial on time for being in president, so I can get on all of that. People for themselves, you know, got a job. They actually job that carries to. Just so they found it. They're going to. I forgot.
And you can bond over anything, so why not juggling?
Hey, this is the one.
I wonder if we move forward and then if she has done, we can come back.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, that's fine.
we'll keep it, right?
Okay, so let's go to next order of business.
Oh, there she is, sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
Just trying to help us move.
Hi, Freda, can you hear us?
Thanks for sending the link.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're up.
Yeah, Freda, you've got 5 minutes if you're comfortable to speak now.
I got 5 minutes right now.
That's right.
You were on.
The clock is burning, Freda.
If you had
Oh,
been
my
10
goodness.
more seconds
Oh,
late, no.
oh, my goodness. Okay. So, I don't know what's come before, but, there's been a lot doing. As you guys probably noticed, the Friends provided greens and a wreath for the library in time for the stroll. You'll probably hear about the events of the stroll, but we were, so it was Cecilia and Barry and I who served as ushers and hostesses, which turned out to be really quite wonderful. And and the last thing is coming up on Saturday, we will be having a pop-up at the farmer's market, and look forward to seeing you all there and you sending your friends to buy books, because it will be a while before we do a pop-up again, because this is an operational decision, but a decision was made that the library is not taking book donations until if there's a pause on the book donations until mid-January. Any questions?
How does that affect the market? Wasn't it done because you have too many books, or what was?
Please.
Okay,
Mhm.
how do you get rid of the books? Or is it because they're coming into UHLS? And
Part of it was logistical because it gets into like a lot of operations and personnel stuff. The short version is that we were utilizing system bins in order to courier materials between the main library where the donations were being received in Lansingburg, and we how do I say this? I had been working with a staff member and we had told them basically that we do not have the space at Lansingburg and they're being kind of overwhelmed with the volume of materials that they were getting. And this particular person was continuing to send the materials along. So in talking to the branch manager at Lansingburg, we had to make the decision to just pause donations until the middle of January. So that way we could get the bins back to the library system. So that way they're able to circulate all the regular materials throughout the library and give us a little bit of time to get some more space in the staff work areas with the processing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I would say to Freda, if there continues to be too many of the children's books, the Red Bookshelf would probably take them again, and so would Grassroots Givers. And so I worked with Judy on that. So if there's a need for that, just let me know.
Yeah, well, they've been very willing to take more books, so that's not the issue. It's well, that's all I'll say about this right now. And the other thing is that we just gotten a request from Tim to pay for the holiday party, and we've done this in the past. This is for staff. It's coming up on Thursday. I guess it's coming up on Friday, and unofficially, but officially, we will be pleased to do that.
Both
Thank you,
officially and
Freda.
officially.
Thank you, Freda.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. As we already talked about did we already meet since why is my brain blanking?
Did we already meet?
I love the library, and do we know the total from the I love the
Oh,
no, we haven't.
Report back, that was right after.
Okay. And yeah, how did that go?
Oh, we have it was very successful, but I was going to ask Tim that we haven't gotten a check yet from Market Block Books, and nor do we know what the gross is, but we, the friends, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, bought the books that were not bought by customers, which amounted to about $600 and some dollars. And all those books that were on the library wish list were transported then to the library. But we don't, in years past, what's happened is that Market Block Books sends the checks of the 20% of their gross for that day to us. And so far we haven't received it. And I don't know, Tim, if you received it.
Not to my knowledge. I had talked to Steve a couple times since then, but it just had not come up in conversation. So
Yeah.
I can ask
Well,
him.
I'll follow through with that because
Yeah.
I've been concerned. It's, it feels like it was yesterday, or it feels like it was last year. I mean,
Mhm.
so many things have been happening vis-a-vis the library and our involvement with the library. I haven't had a chance to go back to Market Block and find out what's the story and why we haven't gotten the check. You can expect that it's going to happen.
Mhm.
I just have one comment, but I do think as this event becomes, what am I trying to say, tradition, and it's like definitely a very whatever, end of the day, sorry, I don't have the words. But I think actually the public would probably be really interested in hearing some of the basic data behind like how many books were requested by the library, how many were purchased by the public, and then the rest of the tab that was picked up by the friends. I think knowing that information would be really good, and especially with fundraising, it would be helpful to know because this is one of your biggest sort of events.
It's not really, I mean, it hits another group. Each of these things that we do sort of involves a different group of people, okay? And clearly when we advertise I'm going over my 5 minutes, Rhea. Clearly when we advertised the I Love the Library event, which you're right, has been going on at least 10 years. I mean, it's been going on as long as this iteration of Friends has been alive. The publicity for it goes out through regular social media avenues, but also goes to this list of people that who are are current donors, former donors, or people who have participated in programs for whom we have emails. This is the caveat. It's not the whole list. What we've, when we know, we like to tell people what the results of these events are. So, for example, the Fall Fest, but we usually do it to the volunteers because I think that kind of feedback is real important. And the other part of it is that, we use our brochure to say what we've spent the money for. We try to keep that current. But I mean, it's a good idea. It's and we should talk about it more. I'm just, talking off the top of my head right now. So, if you want to think about how we can do this, I'd be very much interested in hearing your input.
Yeah, there's a good opportunity for that. collaboration in the future. We have to move on at this point, but Freda, thank you very much for sharing and doing so much for the library.
No, thank you, Freda.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I mean, one of the things that it has been really good going in this past year and going forward. I've been thinking a lot about what's happened in the last year. Is that it's really signified by a lot of collaboration between the trustees and the board of the Friends and the organization of the Friends, and for that we are very appreciative.
Thank you, Freda. And I know I'll be at your meeting next week, right? 10 to. So thank you. All right, we're gonna move on. I do have a quick question for you. The PIO role would not necessarily, would they coordinate with Friends or would that always be separate?
It depends. Is the lawyerly answer?
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a
No.
thought for the future.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Can we? We can mute that one. Does anyone have any? I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Which one was that?
The new guy.
Yeah.
And I am going to, from a discussion perspective, I'm gonna remove the personnel committee and the policy and governance committee, which is technically the admin committee, but it got renamed in our bylaws, so you're gonna now see that as the policy and governance committee. Also, the building committee is technically the facilities and physical infrastructure committee, so that's a.
But you're not removing that, or you are?
No, that was, so
Okay.
the ones we're taking away are admin, so policy and governance and personnel. I will have them for the packet by tomorrow and to send to everybody. We had a little bit go on just in the last 2 weeks. But we will get those out. And then I don't think I will be responsible for either committee's minutes moving forward. So, we did talk about open meeting law. I also went through and did another training. So, does anyone have any other comments or discussion? Thank you.
Oh, wait, we need to vote.
Yep,
Yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, Marie, finance, we've got a few things.
Yes, I move that the board approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $162,912.14.
Second. We did have a very productive finance meeting yesterday.
Pardon?
It was a very productive finance meeting.
Yes, so is there a second?
Oh, I second.
You are
No, second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wasn't sure if you're giving space for discussion. There you go. Okay, approval, or do you have anything else on the treasurer's report side? Do you want to cover other topics before we go to budget revisions? Or are you okay?
Yeah, I have 4 items, including the budget revisions, so we've done 1 so far.
All right, go for it.
So I move that the board approve $47,717 in unspent 2025 funds for the employment of a full-time library assistant in 2026.
I'm going to second that, but we will need discussion.
Yes, so it's $47,717 in unspent funds.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we discuss that?
Yes.
Okay, we're going slightly out of, I don't know if it's out of order. I think that's technically the staffing proposal that Tim was going to talk about before we get to that motion.
So I thought that was part of finance, so.
No, it is, but I think he should introduce it, and then we should also approve the budget line item change. If we were gonna do that first, so that we had the funds available to do. Do you we're in discussion. Do you want to talk about it?
Happy to. So essentially during the finance committee meeting, yesterday, I had approached the board with the cost, to hire a full-time benefited library assistant and a full-time benefited librarian one. And did a comparison to the salary savings that we had from this past year that we're carrying over, and are, that could be used as sort of an unmarked operating reserve if we were to go in that direction. And I'm grateful that Marie had provided the total breakdown. When Lindsay and I were looking at the proposal, there is about $60,000 in revenue that is still outstanding from the city that we are missing. So Lindsay is working with the city and the comptroller's office to see where we are as far as that stands.
How much? Sorry.
It was roughly 60,000. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Only from this last year that you're accounting?
Roughly 40,000 from this year, a little under 20,000 related, a little over 40,000, I should say, for this year, and then a little under 20,000 for previous year's tax levy compared to.
That's,
yeah.
That's sort of an art of.
Yeah.
That's what, we portion that out, but we're really missing 62,000 from the tax levy
Right.
that we would expect to have at this time.
Yes. Which segues into a discussion with Lindsay, looking to analyze just kind of year over year what our outstanding tax levy from the city is. But as it pertains to the discussion now, the finance committee felt that we didn't have a large enough reserve to hire for both of those positions, which I would agree with. But really the essential position would be getting that additional full-time library assistant in the main library circulation department. We've been having a lot of trouble staffing the library in the morning hours and meeting kind of the minimum staffing levels, which then leads to us pulling people who are working evening hours into that spot, which then leads to either closing Lansingburg early or not being able to open for the day. So in that proposal, we also discussed a how did you describe the neutral move the other day? Budget neutral move. So if we are able to create the full-time library assistant position, we can then, there is someone we've identified in the circulation department who came in with significant youth services experience. So we would be able to move them laterally into our YPS department, our Young People Services department, without creating impacts to staffing at the circulation desk. So then we would have one more person. Our youth services department would grow from 3 people to 4 people. And then would be able to do more outreach programs at the YWCA, be able to do more school outreach, and things like that. And it wouldn't cause an impact just based on the hours of availability that they normally work. So for the roughly $47,000, it was a big bang for our buck. So that's why I prioritized that position over the hiring of another librarian one, which is also needed and essential, but is something we can wait in 2026 and have that discussion, hopefully.
And it is somewhat unusual to say that we're going to use remaining funds after the budget year at this point in time, but it will allow Tim to go ahead and start the process. And if we commit to, which is what my motion was, that we want to use some of the unexpended funds in this manner.
And the discussion was that it could be used on capital, right? Improvements. It could be used on creating more of a reserve budget, or I don't know, but it's necessary because we've had so many complaints about closures, not able to stay open, not able to staff. You've got YPS, sometimes without someone in the room, which is a safety concern. And it's 1.9% of the total budget, so it's within the tax cap if we decide to keep that role. I mean, the concern would be that it's not actually budgeted past 2026, which I don't know, doesn't feel great for maybe whoever's getting hired. So I think we have to look at it. We don't have to, but I would say we should look at it as part of the budget in 2027, which brings us to 1.9% increase. If I did my math correctly. So within tax cap, and it's a bit. If you hired both, it goes to like a 7 or 8%, and that's where, because it was 3, no, it goes to 5.5%. Sorry. So we had suggested just the one role for right now.
Well, and we're also still trying to find out from the city how much more we can expect in the way of taxes, tax revenue. So the amount for this particular position still would allow us to not get our full amount and still really be in okay shape. Assuming that we will be getting more, then we can use it for some of the other categories that you mentioned of the reserve for capital. So it's, plus this is largely from salaries that weren't spent this year because of all the structure that had to be established.
I also want to back up and just acknowledge that Marie had quoted that $47,000 price tag for a library assistant, which is not what their rate of pay would be, but that also incorporates the 7.65% FICA that we have and the roughly $13,000 in health care that it cost us to take on that employee. So when you figure out sort of the true cost of one full-time, roughly $33,000 a year employee, it's actually closer to 47,000.
Well, and it's interesting because in the past, we've used like 20% for benefits over the salary, and doesn't work in this instance.
No. Closer to 30. 27.
Or 50.
Yeah.
Any questions, concerns, discussion? I feel like those that were there yesterday, we already recommended it. Or we're not.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Want to go to a vote? Or we have a second, right?
I believe we have a second and then we're in discussion. I believe you were the second. Yep.
I mean, I think it makes sense, but the overall concern I have with this is the same concern I have even within our school, which is that like this is not a livable wage. And so I think she was saying 6, you've down to 4, like sort of the around the library assistants. And so it's a fluid position because of that. And so that's like my larger concern, but I understand the need for it now. So right sizing the library is also right sizing salaries.
Which I think is a larger conversation that gets into the bargaining work that's being done. But I would agree, it's hard for me when I hear that number, and I know you guys are like, well, it's not this much, and I'm like, it's hard.
I will also say, for the benefit of people who weren't on the board or didn't attend the budget information sessions this past summer, I will get into the habit of my first budget proposal being sort of the true cost of library services when it comes to staffing and things like that. So to run a modern urban public library, when you break it down at kind of a higher level, whether it's Albany or Brooklyn Public or NYPL, it is roughly between 2.2 and $2.6 million per location. That's just kind of like a very conservative estimate with like staffing and facilities upkeep. And again, to Ashley's point, to not exactly pay like livable wages to folks. So when you compare, I've been working on comparison libraries for us, right? So when you compare us to a city like Hoboken, which has roughly $6 million in allocation with 3 branches for a city of roughly 60,000 people. The math does track essentially that it is, we would expect to be closer. My first budget proposal last year was roughly 3.8 or 3.9 million. Um, when we start to take into account, right, that we don't have administrative positions like an assistant director, a head of facilities, a head of IT. Those are sort of the 3 big areas where we're missing. Lindsay does not have a backup. So when Lindsay goes on vacation, we still have to have someone to do payroll and HR related work. Um, so that is, again, just thinking about the big picture.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but is it the civil commission that directs the wage for a position?
It's a good question. Essentially, if we were in a larger civil service commission, that would be something that multiple libraries would weigh in on because we are the only public library in the jurisdiction of the Troy Civil Service Commission. Um, we lead that conversation and we set the salary schedule. The salary schedule is created by us, and then we share that information with the commission.
Do all the library assistants or any position that is the same with multiple people in it, do they all get the same salary?
There is an opportunity. A lot of people don't realize that when it comes to civil service, even though there are very strict step requirements, there is some wiggle room to negotiate. So some people choose to take advantage of that, others do not. Typically, for a library assistant position, we don't negotiate pay because it is the entry level position. So during the last round of hiring, for instance, we received I know it was north of 50 candidates. Several of them were asking for over $70,000 for that position, and again, they certainly had the education and experience to warrant that and have received it elsewhere, not for that type of work. Um, but typically that the entry level positions are not ones that I negotiate or spend a lot of time negotiating.
There are longevity.
At this point, there is not
Yeah.
longevity.
There's no longevity.
It is something that we are discussing broadly at the collective bargaining with the union.
Oh, so there aren't the 12 steps?
Well, we do have a step schedule in place with the commission, but we don't have typically when you top out on a civil service stepped pay ladder. If there was a longevity schedule, for instance, let's say every 5 years your base pay is increased by $5,000. As an example of what longevity could look like. So let's say you topped out at $50,000 and then after 5 years, your base pay goes up 5,000. So you're at 55, 10 years, you're at 60,000, et cetera.
But don't we have the 12 steps where you get an increase for each year?
And then once they reach step
you're
12,
saying
you're
But
plateaued.
that's 12 years.
Right. Mhm. We only have one employee at this point who has topped out on their pay ladder. Mhm.
I'm gonna bring
Yep.
Lois back in.
Yep.
Okay.
But again, good question, Sam.
Okay.
So, essentially, any changes to that are operational, but we could discuss, and it would be something that if the board's interested in that, when we get to budget season, I'm happy to draw up any number of proposals. Hopefully less than 9.
I agree with the sentiment, but that's what we got for that role right now, and it's gonna really help, and I love the fact that Kaylee came in, requested something, and I think we're about to make it happen. Is that true?
Knock on wood.
Is that how that just worked? Oh no, the word's gonna get around, more people are gonna wanna come see us.
I think we're still in discussion, aren't we?
Yes,
Correct.
we are.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, no, so
Anyone?
are we at a point where? Okay, I seconded, so all in favor? Okay,
Thank you, everyone.
happy holidays. All right,
Can I just ask how soon this would start?
Because we have a brand new list from the Civil Service Commission. Once again, now that it has been approved, it should be a fairly straightforward process. I could potentially hire someone before Christmas. At this rate.
what odds are, I don't know.
Mm.
Conversation with Lindsay,
Well,
like,
so again, this is a good education thing. So we held the library assistant exam. The Civil Service Commission held the library assistant exam on October 15th. The results of that were announced at the November Civil Service Commission meeting. And then there is a 2 week period where they canvass the applicants. So they send a piece of mail to everyone who took the exam with their score, and they ask people, are you still interested in being hired for this position? So they have 2 weeks to reply in the affirmative or to opt out. So we just passed the 2 week window where all of the applicants that we get and that we see on the eligibility exam have said, yes, I am interested in working at the library. So it really does narrow down the list because we are a small agency. If we were something like New York State, where you have hundreds of people on an eligibility list where you may not be canvassed for sometimes several years, a lot can happen in several years, but because there's really at this point a 1 week window between when the canvas letters were due back and when we could be hiring, it should be pretty straightforward.
so let's say it this way, when would you get an offer letter out? What are you thinking?
Well, and part of it too, so we had a group of employees who needed to take this exam in order to keep their jobs. So once we hire for those positions, the first thing I'm going to do is see internally if there are any applicants, again, who would be interested in the full-time position. Then we would use the eligibility list to backfill their position. There was also, we had recently hired Desiree and Ann Scorbutanis, but there was a third position that we didn't fill because we were waiting for the results of this exam. So we will presumably backfill the internal position once we promote someone to full-time, and then we will hire for the 2 open vacancies that we have.
Okay, I'm just thinking about the amount of time that you have. Regardless, the
Nope.
amount of money that we're allocating to this is only for that 2026, but there could be a small amount in 2025 if you're able to actually get them started.
Yeah, correct.
Is it okay to keep going on money? You got budget revisions?
Yes. So, a couple of things we discussed were projecting that we're going to have a budget shortfall in the professional services line. And that will have an excess in the automation line. So we're proposing moving $19,701 from automation to professional services, which right now appears would get us through the end of the 2025 year. So I move that we do so. That we move the $19,701 from automation, the line item automation, to the line item professional services.
I'll
And
second that.
any discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I always say all in favor?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Yep.
I'm just sitting here staring at you. We can move back.
All I say is the motion.
Okay, thank
You
you.
got the rest.
All right. Do you have, are we not doing the other one?
The other area that was discussed, which on the budget appears to be way over budget, is $80,000 for the Lansingburg remediation. And that's actually going to pull from various sources, such as donations, and others, but in trying to work out how that should all fall into place. I couldn't do it. That's been time for today's meeting, so we'd like to work on that. It looks like if we're short, it's only about $10,000, which could come out of the unexpended funds from 2025. But it's complicated because some of the money's coming from 2024 and some of it just. Some of it's, we haven't actually received yet.
Thank you, Mary.
So more to come on that is what we're saying.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, got it, thanks.
We're gonna start making budget revisions more routine. And-
Quarterly is my hope.
But the concern here is that it's not necessarily something we're used to doing, so how do we note that moving forward?
Mhm.
Which we'll figure out.
And I personally don't have concern about a little off budget. But I mean, we're talking 80,000 or 20,000, you know, we should be making adjustments.
Do you have any other finance topics?
I do.
Yeah.
Let me give some context. We have been talking for a while about establishing an account with Schwab
Oh, yeah.
in order to get a higher rate of return. They have financial instruments that would meet our criteria for not being risky. They're referred to as government funds. So we established the account. There was a motion that allowed us, well, mandated us to do so. But we would like to add another motion to this, giving some more details about what we intend to do in using this. So I don't have that to read, so I'll have to do it on the fly. So I move that we authorize Lindsay to be the authorized user on the account. In addition, Tim and I will have viewing access to provide oversight. It will report monthly on the interest or the income, I guess would be a better term, which is accrued monthly. And the funds there are two different funds. One is a government money market, which is investor, and that requires only $1 to open that account. And then there is another, which is the ultra government money market, which you need to have $1 million to open that account, to invest in that. But once you have that, you can go under. We see, at least for now, having this be our operating reserve. So the money that's just sitting there, not being utilized, we see going into this fund. Am I missing anything?
No, the only, again, I believe, Marie, correct me if I'm wrong, the rate of return on the ultra $1 million plus account was about 0.2% higher than the one that only needed $1, right? It was like
Okay.
3.8 and 3.6
The
roughly.
reason to move
Yeah.
into the minimum $1 million, it's because the rate of return is slightly higher.
Yeah.
So we would do that if we found ourselves having $1 million, we would move from the investor to the ultra.
But not significantly higher. By the way, this is a very long motion. Something else. So we lost the motion.
You're reading 4 sentences.
Okay.
So the motion is to authorize Lindsay to be the authorized user, which actually does the transactions.
Viewing permissions
Pardon?
and the viewing permissions and then
Investing the operating reserve in this way.
do we have to cover how the money will, is it just that Lindsay has access, or do we have to define when and how? We're just gonna say there's operating reserve and let that be.
Right.
Okay.
I would say that Jonna at UHLS seems to use their investment in liquid assets in this way. She says that she moves money around weekly. Yeah,
Mhm.
so, I think that we need to leave it fluid in order to meet the need.
But they've got the one we can't have, right?
Right,
Mhm.
but you know, I found an email where I said, I think this is actually better. So,
Okay.
I don't remember.
Ooh,
why-
Jonna.
I don't remember why I said that, but it may be that the rate of return is a little higher.
Yeah,
Makes it just be
let's compare our interest at the end next year, or income. Okay,
Mhm.
just. Okay.
Marie had just talking about like comparisons. The Brunswick Library, while they are an association library, so they're able to do slightly more, with their money. Again, they also, I believe, have a Schwab account that does, sort of the government
Right.
investments.
And also, I didn't check what kind of investments, but, they also invest in equities, which we're not able to do.
Right.
Mm.
That's considered too risky for us.
Right.
So we would be limited to the two funds that I described.
Mhm.
We would not do other than that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Um, any discussion? We just did our discussion during the motion.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Is that everything? So.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. All right, get stuff done. Making money, we're hiring people,
Mhm.
change budget items.
That's right.
We don't
Sending
have-
petty emails. You're doing all sorts of stuff, Marie.
Okay,
The working treasurer,
That's right.
all right, we're we good on finance? That it, the last time?
unless somebody knows something I've omitted.
No.
I'm
Good
sure.
job. All right, director's report, Tim, you're up.
And I apologize for not having this completed in time with the packet before the meeting. I can just kind of very quickly go through my report at a high level. Glad that Kaylee was here. She has really come in during a very difficult time, handled a lot of changes very gracefully, and again, we're really happy to have her at the library. So in my preamble, I just talk about, looking back over the course of the first year of my tenure here at Troy, talking about the administrative and operational improvements. We'll be moving to an automated timekeeping system next week. Hooray, Lindsay's thrilled to no longer have to do all of the PTO and benefit time manually and all the places that we handle that paperwork.
Bringing in 2026.
Oh.
Also, a quick shout out, just to piggyback off of that is, thank you to the union
Mhm.
for saying like yes to that early too.
Well, at this point, we're just doing the PTO and benefit tracking. We haven't implemented the timekeeping function of that. That's still,
What are you using? Just so I understand.
it'll be ADP.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Done it.
Yep. We were open for the Victorian stroll this year for the first time in a while. It was really such a fun event. Like Freda and Cecilia and Barry did just a wonderful job. It was myself and a couple of people on the management team who were here as far as staff. In the 3 hours we were open, we had 226 people. We had a local photographer who was doing portraits for anyone who wanted them free of charge. There were 60 people, families, groups that signed up for that. We shined up the fireplace. It looks beautiful. If you get a chance to look at it, please. And then there was a local classical music ensemble that was playing flute and cello music. And then we invited the mayor to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." We also did bring out the original 1823 copy of the Troy Daily Sentinel that was sitting on the circulation desk under several watchful eyes. So people were just excited to see it, and overall, I think it was something we will be doing again in the future. Kaylee had already walked through a lot of the staffing, just as far as updates. We have completed the final round of interviews for the librarian two. We've completed the interviews for the public information officer. We were looking at circulation statistics. As Kaylee mentioned, we had roughly 1,400 people sign up for new library cards this year. That was exciting to see. We already went into the closures. One of the things I did want to bring to the board's attention, when we talk about out of system borrowers, these are people who do not live in Albany, Rensselaer County, who still have a library card through Troy. So really this would affect people on the other side of the river from Lansingburg, as we get into Waterford, or things like that. My understanding was even though we are chartered to serve the city of Troy and again, the people who are in the Upper Hudson community, we have not been we have been allowing anyone in New York State to sign up for our library card without paying any money for that. And there is an argument that this is unfair to the local taxpayers, who again are having to carry the burden of these folks. So I asked, this was a discussion I had been having with the previous board president. I am interested in instituting a fee for out of system borrowers that does reflect closer to what we ask people in Troy to pay, in their taxes to use the library card. So currently there are 208 active accounts for people who live outside of the Upper Hudson system. So if we were to charge, the number for easy math was $200, we charge an average Troy taxpayer through our talking points about $175 per year. So if we were to charge a $200 fee to those users, it would represent an additional $41,600 in revenue. It is a common practice at many libraries in our system and throughout the country to have some type of out of system fee to acknowledge, again, that local taxes pay for this. So that was, yep, go ahead.
You said $200, is that an annual expense or?
Annual.
That's what
Anyway.
I'm asking. Or do you expect people, sorry, people,
No, that was my question. Well, go ahead, I know. But it's not related to the two.
do you expect people to pay that upfront or on the monthly, because it seems like a lot.
Upfront.
Yeah,
Upfront is the way it's just kind of historically done in
and then
libraries.
to what extent do you think that that quantity of people would actually do that?
And that's always the question,
Right.
honestly. But even then, it would hypothetically result in a lower cost to the library. Really, it's a lot of the e-resources, and the e-resources we are charged by how items circulate. So when we talk about Hoopla and the way that Hoopla costs were rising anywhere from 50 to 400% in certain libraries, the way that Overdrive and Libby charge, they have per circ models. There are some other products that I'm looking at bringing to the library, like Canopy, which is a movie and video streaming service. They have a lot of like A24 movies, documentaries. It's a really great thing that I would like to institute at the library. But because all of those are paid per circ, really that's where we see the cost passed on to the taxpayer, is what I would say.
So the majority of these folks are not coming physically to the library.
That's my understanding. Yes.
They use it for the ears.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. My mom's out in Brunswick and she doesn't pay. And
Well,
her up.
I will say that that's a good point though, because so for someone like Brunswick, that's an in-system
Oh, that's true.
use, right? So these would be people in,
Right.
Saratoga County,
Mhm.
or Columbia Green County.
Sorry.
Or
Did you have?
Schenectady.
Or Schenectady, yes.
Can I just ask this, Howard, did they figure out their stuff, or are they still riding alone?
God, they're,
I
yeah,
don't open that.
yeah.
That works.
Yes, but when we think about public library system service areas, the Mohawk Valley Library System, which would be, the west of us, the Schenectady region. North of us is Sal's, the Southern Adirondack. So that would be Saratoga County and Waterford, excuse me. And then south of us is Mid Hudson, Columbia Green County.
So is there a way to understand these 208 and where they are coming from?
I
From
have
their
all of,
original signups?
I have all the address information and that.
So is there a way for
material.
us to know?
Yeah, can we have a spreadsheet of their location? Not their address, but
A-
like their.
anything else?
It's like right down by,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a map.
Yeah, otherwise de-identified. I don't, obviously we don't wanna know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have no idea.
We
Yeah.
just.
I don't think you have any- that's a question.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
well, I have
I'm
concerns.
okay, sure.
I just want you to know
Yeah.
that in advance, so there's
Sure.
no surprises as we
Yeah.
go through this.
Mhm.
Mostly because as a library that's been always the net borrower, never a net lender, this is something, even if they aren't in Upper Hudson,
Yep.
there's still
Mhm.
some sense of social responsibility.
Mhm.
But very practically, considering that there is the arrangement between Mid Hudson first, and then I believe Sal's and Mohawk Valley
Mhm.
to share electronic resources.
Right.
If we're starting to charge now, how
Right.
how does
So-
it all fit?
So what Evelyn is talking about is reciprocal borrowing agreements that are contractually negotiated at the system level. So when I was working at the Southern Tier Library System, we were one of the first in the state to be doing a reciprocal lending. So that's 49 small libraries in Western New York. We worked with the Owl Library System and the North Country Library System, NCLS. So it really, at the consortial level, allows library consortia to have more buying power the way that we go in an ILS system to save money, right? Um, even so then let me walk this back. So even in those systems, again, operationally, folks can choose whether or not, you know, it really comes down to a discussion about, again, the cost to and the burden on the local taxpayers. So to Evelyn's point, because Upper Hudson has not negotiated a sort of reciprocal lending agreement with our neighboring library systems, you know, there is this opportunity where we are stuck paying the bill for people who, you know, live in Waterford, come over here, sign up for a library card, and then use all of our e-resources, right? So, in thinking about when we went through the budget discussions and vote this summer, in trying to identify new revenue streams for the library, this is an area where we have to balance, yes, libraries want to provide access to information for people, but there is a real cost to that in terms of staffing and vendor fees. So, like Ria's point, do I expect that all 208 people will continue to pay like a annual cost for the card? No, but I think because there's no barrier to entry, it does open up the door, you know, like with Hoopla, for instance. I think it was like 30% of our monthly use was coming from like one person, right? So it can really skew the numbers in a way, you know. I'm trying to get more data from the vendors, obviously, but a lot of that, one, the vendors don't want to provide the data, and then two, it's anonymized. But at least with this, because it is through the ILS system that we have access to people's, you know, where their home address is. So some of these home cards are based out of New York City. Some of them are based again far northern New York, or when people are visiting relatives and things like that. So, and I should also back up. These are the active accounts. We had closer to 460 accounts in total, but you know, over 200 of them, close to 260 of them were not active, so they had expired.
No, I'm under the impression that maybe the word is contractual versus arranged, that there is an articulated agreement with certainly Mid Hudson. That was first, that was the beta test. And then it went to Sal's, and then it went to Mohawk Valley. But I think we also need to look at what some of those other areas, those other two, for example, systems are charging. I know there's a Sal's library that up to a few years ago was charging all of $10 to get a library card. And now they decided to give out library cards to out of their system patrons for absolutely nothing. And it brings you into all of Sal's. It's not just the one library doing that. So I think it's looking at what the others are doing, and unless East Greenbush has changed their fee structure, they were only charging $50 for someone to come in out of system. I just think it's something to really think about and look at the numbers and what we're doing and how you want to appear and how much. You know, you can say 41, but if we're probably not gonna get that. What is that balancing act again for a much lesser amount in what we also give up?
I know East Greenbush charges 50, Albany had been charging $100. To your point, again, it really is kind of set by the library director based on sort of the operational need, but then they talk to the board, figuring out what works for their community. I've seen communities where there are a lot of snowbirds, for instance, and a lot of people traveling, bouncing between Florida, where there is a $10 rate for people who are only wintering in the town. So there are again, ways that we could approach this, but really with so much, and again, in looking at the demographic information that I'm able to see, it really is coming from primarily Sal's and kind of Waterford, that area. Really, it's north of Lansingburg. And again, I think we have a responsibility to the taxpayers, right? It is a balancing act. So.
Did you? I have a couple questions, but I know that we're
Yeah.
conscious of time and this seems,
Well-
is this introductory right now?
Yes,
Because
so-
I think the conversation.
I had been
This is-
working with the previous board president on this. And I will just also say again, so what Evelyn was talking about is contract negotiations happening at a consortial level versus what's happening with like local control.
So here's what I can say right now, this is not a proposal,
No.
this is this is the data that we
Yep.
were looking for, so thank you for collecting that.
Yep.
And we're just in the director's report.
Totally.
So we do need to move on, but there is going to be an opportunity to have that conversation, these are great topics to bring up, it sounds like there's a concern. My thought is it's an opportunity for revenue, it's also potentially, if it's not revenue, an opportunity for an expense decrease,
Mhm.
which is important. And from a perception standpoint, when we go for that budget, we really need to prove to taxpayers that we have done everything we can to look at other ways to cover our expenses. And that was a question, we didn't have many line items there, so just having one more line item is great.
That is almost a full-time circulation.
That's exactly, I'm like, that's a whole person,
Yeah.
like that's.
The other highlight from my director's report was just related to public safety and facilities. So since June, we hired our community engagement specialist in late May. So from June until November, there had really only been 23 public safety incidents. 13 of those incidents required the library to call emergency services.
For how many people?
What's that?
How many of those were one person?
One of the things that I highlight is that there's a patron who is currently serving a 1-year ban who showed up at least 6 occasions since August. So we did ask for him to be arrested after he threatened the community engagement specialist in this most recent. There was a patron who stole library material from the local history room that resulted in a permanent ban. And 2 patrons were banned for 1 year following incidents with illegal drugs in the public restrooms. One of those people threatened to stab me and the community engagement specialist. So yeah. And then there's, my outreach and professional development calendar. Of the highlights there, I had a meeting with the Stockbridge Munsee tribe. We are trying to coordinate on an NEA Big Reads grant, which is a community-wide reading program. The idea would be to have everybody in Troy and working with the school districts read Joy Harjo's In American Sunrise to find a book to pair that with that would be appropriate for school-age children and teens. 2 books to bring representatives from the Mohican Writing Circle to kind of culminate in a big author talk and lecture that we can all celebrate and enjoy Troy. I spoke at the New York Library Association conference on November 7th. A pretty good turnout. There were about 30 people in the room. Evelyn can provide feedback about that. We had our Fall Fest program on November 15th, which was very well. We had over 300 people attend that. And yeah, I think those are the highlights. So happy to answer any questions about my director's report before we move to personnel status update.
Which was 300 attendees?
Our Fall Fest program.
Thank you. Let's move on to the president's report.
Did you want to talk about personnel and executive
Oh,
session?
that is on there. Yeah, so underneath there, I'm gonna need you to give some specifics because there might be two. I don't know.
Um, is employment status a reason?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's sufficient. So, I would like to make a motion to enter executive session at, 6:53 PM to discuss, the current employment status of, a number of personnel, and, we are doing this in lieu of the personnel meeting this month. These are, we will be talking about specific employees and their current employment, status, so it is needs to be private. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go ahead and pause that.
Oh, Tripp's gone.
So.
Yep, thank you.
They allow us to come over multiple.
For whatever reason, I can.
Great, thank you. We are exiting executive session at 7:20 PM. No actions were taken. Next agenda item. We okay to move on to the president's report?
Mhm, yes.
Okay, board leadership transition. I would like to make a motion to.
Wait, we guess, construction needs survey, or are we discussing that?
Oh, correct. I'm so sorry. Thank you. There's a.
All right.
Do you want to go through the construction needs?
Estimated construction needs?
Yes,
Okay.
so, and because these are estimated construction needs. And similarly to the vein of whose line is it anyway, it's kind of all made up and the points don't matter. The things that I included in our construction needs survey for 26 to 2030. Repair and renovation based on recent historic structures report, electrical and plumbing upgrades, security system installation, purchase new building. Having it in there in the, again, if we do it, if we don't do it, that was fine. So anticipated the HSR to be about 13 million, and then it anticipated the new building to be roughly 5 million. And that would be, again, I wasn't sure to include that for the main library or to create a separate item. For Lansingburg, I mostly stuck to what was already there: renovation to increase public space, elevator installation, HVAC upgrade, security system installation. So I used the kind of rough guidelines and pricing that we had for the HVAC project here, obviously at a much smaller scale, and included an elevator installation. Tried to ballpark that and tried to ballpark a security system for about $7 million.
And it's okay that these are broad. We're just giving it one.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice? Thank you, Maria.
25 million.
Yep.
No. Thank you. Okay. Okay, to move on. Okay, president's report. I would like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Carolyn Fagan as president and trustee with the Troy Public Library Board of Trustees. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I would also like to, this is a prepared statement of appreciation. Fortunately, I did not prepare, but I can do that right now. And I was hoping that others would like to say a few words as well. Sorry, we had so much to prepare today. I would just like to recognize Carolyn for her service on the board as treasurer, as vice president, as president, committee chairs, and so many other roles that she filled, from outreach coordinator to UHLS representative to executive committee. And I know that this was a hard decision that we done her, but she's making the right decision for her family, and I know she's eager to do what she can in the future. And of course, for her 24 years of service as a librarian, she is an incredible resource, was very capable, calm, why am I emotional? Wonderful colleague on the trustees board, and I'm gonna miss her, and I just want to say thank you to Carolyn Also, I'm slightly frustrated, but I'll get over that. That's for me to absorb. And I just have an incredible amount of gratitude for what I learned from her just in 1 year. And she set us up so well as a board. And yeah, that I don't know. Does anyone else have anything else you'd like to say about Karen? I did offer for her to come here and be here for this moment. She did not. So she did not want to have the praise. And
That seems like her.
I know.
She has given so much of her life to the library. And again, the library would be a worse place without her involvement. And happy to work with her again in the future.
Mhm.
Whatever that looks like.
As well as the wider community.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really.
Dennis and Carolyn.
Yes, agreed.
Donating a bus that we turned into a giant triple-decker purple bus.
Ah,
I mean,
that was cool.
it's a lot.
Bus, not bus.
Anyone else? Good? Okay, I'm just gonna thank Carolyn again, and we hope to see her again soon. She did indicate that if there's an opportunity to work together with long-range planning or perhaps friends or other things, she would be there.
Carolyn, if you're watching this, just reread the text message I sent you.
No. Okay, with that said, you did not elect me to be your president. I know that you elected me to be your vice president, and I understood the responsibility that they came with, and we did read the bylaws. Can't go to an election for that, so my question is, would someone like to make a motion of support or confidence?
I will, because I kind of proposed it.
Thank you.
So I would like to see us have a vote of confidence for Rhea as president. So I move that we support Rhea as president.
Second.
All in favor, I'm sorry. Aye. Do
Aye.
I hope I'm confident
Is
myself.
that everybody? I'm sorry.
Yes, we are. Great. I want to discuss next the vice president nomination and election. I would like to make a nomination of Ashley Saw as vice president.
You sure about that?
Your secretarial role.
I'll second.
Do we have any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would like to make a nomination for secretary of Samantha Pertler. And I'm wondering if we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, wonderful, and all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you. Now moving on to board transition. Yeah, I guess that was executive committee up here. UHLS board nomination. This was tough because I think there were a couple folks that we're kind of going between, but this ultimately came down to, I would like to nominate Lori Gavazzi because you are our current treasurer, you're on the finance committee, you did volunteer. And I'd like to thank Evelyn as well for volunteering, you both did. Trying to think, everyone was really willing, everyone said whatever you need, so thank you. But Evelyn, you have done that role, you know UHLS very well, they know you very well. It would be nice to get a little more involvement from others on the board, but also because they have a finance committee, and I'm eager to see Marie, you work more closely with that group. Why am I forgetting his name? He leads the finance committee. Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll do great with Fred. Do you already know Fred?
I do. I've met with him.
Okay, and Jonna and all of them, and I think that can bring a lot of knowledge into the documentation and work that we're doing. So with that said, I would like to nominate.
Which is, I think I'm going to recuse, if I may, recuse myself for this one then?
Yeah, you're
Okay, thank you.
So I would like to nominate Marie Gavazzi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
With one recusal.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay, open trustee seat. This one is a little, I am gonna look at my email because I don't think I have what I need yet. Is Lewis in Peru, Brazil,
South America.
Guatemala?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just
Central
naming
America,
countries.
yep.
He is somewhere in the world. I know that we've talked a bit about what we could do. And, it's checking, I don't have anything yet. Thank you to everyone who reached out to everybody that you could think of, because we have a great pool of candidates to come in, as a trustee.
How many do we have?
Kristen is available if we need him.
Not available.
He's willing. That said, he's more passionate about long-range planning
Yes.
and would like to be a part of that. We are actually meeting on Friday to talk about that, and he wants to be on that committee.
Great.
Cecilia's not interested in coming back in that capacity, right? But
She's going to be out away in January. She's going to leave the area in April. That only leaves her with February and March to be
Right.
helpful, and she's happy to be helpful if she can during the time. But her time constraints precluded her from coming back as a trustee.
She better spent helping the friends with succession planning, I would say.
yeah, I agree. Also, that was a factor in Kirsten not running is potential personal constraints at a future date. So, so those are our former trustees. We also that we spoke to, of course, Lewis, because he was next up in the election, and it would seem obvious, but we had just gone through this massive trustee candidate evaluation process before that you were part of, and we'd gotten all of these just amazing interviews and people that came forward. So we have some really great people. I did reach out to Elizabeth, and Jeanette had already said no previously. I did reach out to Carolyn. I did not hear back. These are some folks that were very top of our list. And Elizabeth was not interested in joining the trustees right now because of what she has going on at the center of gravity, but she is very interested in helping us with the development committee when we get to that. And potentially being a part of the focus groups for long range.
Good idea.
Yeah, so this has been helpful in at least talking to people and sourcing contacts. The other Tershia, you spoke to Tershia?
Yeah.
She said interested. I spoke with her today.
Yes.
Still interested.
Yep.
Cautious about time, but incredibly qualified. I think
She's currently on the BirthNet board.
Yeah.
And she's really great. Definitely has some fun development background, nonprofit work, human resources, that sort of stuff. And she is also another mom with kids who actively use and participate in libraries, so she understands it very well.
just went through
And in
library.
our, what I would argue should be an authentic attempt at diversifying our board, we are talking about a Black woman.
Yes. And she is someone who just conducted a whole long range plan with FERCnet. So just went through that process.
And she'll be coming off the board this next year. And so she's interested to be a part of something else.
That's the thing that made her nervous was that it's not technically until the end of 2026, and she's the board president.
Okay.
So yeah, that's and so she was very honest, and she said, I'm the type of person that if I take something on, I'm a perfectionist, I want to go all in. And I said,
And verify.
if you came here, I would, if you ever raised your hand, I would question it. We'd have to pull her back and not let her. She is who I am leaning towards, and I'm gonna say that just because I haven't seen Lewis's interview questions come back. So I just truly don't know enough about Lewis, whereas we would have such a thorough process with everybody else before that we know more. So what I would like to do is get Lewis's answers back, but he's still away for a couple of weeks. So I don't know if we want to make a decision tonight or if we want to wait, get his responses and kind of compare Tershia and Lewis, because I feel like it's really down to the two of them right now.
For whatever it's worth, I have the only concerns I have with Lewis are about confidentiality and his relationship to members of the circulation department. So just as far as the flow of information and for me to be able to discuss things in confidence with the board, I have, again, I don't know Lewis, but that there is that one relationship that does seem problematic to me, again, yeah.
I don't think he could participate in bargaining or personal.
Right. Yeah.
If he was up here.
Right.
Right.
So I'm sorry, you said she was the board president through 2026?
The end of next year. She said she could be a participant in committees.
Would not be part of the full board?
No, we'll still be a part of the full board.
Just not take on like any big responsibilities like executive committee or.
We talked about me coming on and putting me on UHLS, and I'm chairing two twists. She's like, I don't want to do that, but that's who I am.
Yes.
So, yeah, eldest daughter trauma.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, my opinion is, not that I want to wait, but I think making the best and right decision now is important. So I would be interested in hearing back, because I have to be totally honest, outside of those candidate nights, I don't know.
Yeah. that's not-
And so
Would she be willing to come on for like a Zoom call or anything?
Yeah.
It also looks like everyone.
Yeah,
I think what I heard you say, obviously. Some of us were not involved at all with the
Right.
interim.
Yeah.
And have no clue who these people are. I
Yes.
mean, I know who Lewis is, obviously.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think, and Kirsten and.
Right.
But I don't know some of the other names, they're just first names to me, so I have a very difficult time. She's like, I would like to, if I'm gonna vote on something or make a decision, want to know.
See them.
who they are.
That's a good point.
I think most of the other people said they're not interested, so we're really just.
Just those two.
We're shy of it.
which helps.
Which,
Yeah.
the person was like, I could do it.
No, maybe once I'm just. I
Yeah.
gotta kind of gotta do this.
Yes. Just a little.
Okay. So let's, and you were saying, so I think that what we could do is what we did before, if you're interested, let me get those questions back from Lewis, let's surface those. And then, if you'd like to do an interview, we could do a 30-minute call with each of them, and whoever can make it on the Zoom call over the next few weeks, we can try that.
Do you want to do that as a full board or through the nominating committee?
It's a good question. I don't want to do it through the nominating committee because we'd have
Yeah.
to form a nominating committee for 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna make a suggestion.
Mhm.
Because part of this is based on. As the entity, each of us getting to know a new colleague.
Mhm.
You might want to make sure everyone who can. And is interested in meeting a new person,
Oh,
and not, kind of silo this maybe.
and my thought is, I already know enough about both to a certain extent that I feel like it's for your benefits. Like you were there for Trisha, you were there for Trisha. Were you there for Trisha?
Mhm.
No.
Oh, no.
I just had a couple of interviews I was present for. I think Anthony's I was present for, and one other person.
Yeah.
So, no.
I feel like it's most important that you all meet her and
Mhm.
that we all get to know Lewis. So. Agreed.
No, that's true, it's a two-way street.
Okay.
So and would Carolyn have been up? So is it a 1-year term?
It's a
No,
it's to the next election, so it's no matter what, it's just a 1-year term.
It's been in the bylaws that.
Oh, right, then you'd, right.
So very next election, and they have to do it again, and that, I guess, the next question is.
When was
to
her?
replace Elizabeth.
She would have been.
With us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for 1
So
more year.
1 years.
2 more
Seven.
years. Got it, okay.
So they have to go back to back.
But I mean, the next election, there would be 3 seats.
Depending on the charter,
Right,
they expand.
unless we expand.
Yeah.
Right. 5 people now.
But at a minimum 3.
Yes. Well, and I was just gonna say, I just brought up the committee as just a point of process. I think it's
Right.
better that the whole.
No,
Yes,
I agree.
Yeah.
definitely.
And I thought about that and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
not over the holiday, so we have to meet.
right. No.
Let's make it a board decision. I think we can do a
Mhm.
friendly vote. I think I have confidence that we'll get to it. We can get. And whatever direction it is, again, I just don't know this well. I'm thankful that he is willing to respond to us in email on his vacation.
Oh,
over the
seriously.
holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to your point, he's incredible. He's already run an election. He's been willing, he's active, he has energy, he's
Yeah.
ready to do it. So, Intershire said, look, he and I have different lived experiences. We have different, amounts of availability and energy. So if that's what you need, if you need a working board, then maybe choose him. But if you need more of that knowledge and expertise, then maybe choose me.
Yeah.
So I would say we should look at the committees and things that we have, and where they could both go.
Might also factor in that I do think that we should seriously consider expanding in advance in September, so that there'd be opportunities for somebody to really step on at around the time that Tershai would be potentially getting more free time this year.
I should just, I should have noted in my director's report or director's update, but there are no new updates from the state library on our proposed charter revisions at this point.
We are at their mercy.
I desperately agree. Like very much like that. So when we can do that, that's great.
Yes.
Okay, is it okay to move on, because we're not gonna
Yeah.
make that decision right now, but we'll do that hopefully in January. That said, committee assignments, chairs and co-chairs will not be shuffled until that point, so, and I'm saying that because there might be people shuffling around. Committee schedules, same thing, we won't have a full year committee schedule because you won't have solid committees until that happens, but if you can all figure out your January dates and
Yes.
times and. get
I was
those-
just gonna say, I have an admin and I am not doing anything this month, so depend on me, honestly, I can't. But I will send something out to the folks who were previously assigned to
Yeah.
that committee and let y'all know.
You mean the exciting policy and governance, I'm sorry.
Well, yes, sorry, policy and governance. I
We'll
will
keep calling
be,
it that.
yes, I will be doing those things.
Thank you, you've got that,
Facilities did set theirs, so ours
That's-
will be the fourth Wednesday of the month at Lansingburg at
Mhm.
5:30.
Luxembourg.
At Lansingburg, so we are meeting January, I think it's the 24th, it's in the minutes. And that should set every fourth Thursday thereafter through the 2026, other than, you know, as you get closer to Thanksgiving and Christmas. it's questionable.
Mhm.
But
finance, you're actually set too.
Finance committee, I haven't heard any objection to it continuing to be on Monday.
Yeah.
It's kind of constrained by the availability of the reports.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's really personnel and admin.
So it's the Monday before. the
So it was
meeting.
Second
yesterday.
Monday.
Got it. So in I realize that we're not all on everything, but
Yeah.
with the board calendar that we all see, these will all be added so that we can all at least see that they're happening. Okay, because that would be very helpful for me, just so I know what's going on.
Can you put an action item, I'm gonna update,
Yes.
I think I already put finance on there.
thank you.
I will say I'm also available to help, you know, support the work of the board. So,
that Google Calendar, yeah, I can benefit.
Oh, let me confirm that you're all on that, whoever wants to be on that,
Mhm.
Google Calendar, or invite. Let me know if you have an email. I'll reach out to everybody, because you're gonna start getting a lot of notifications, to give everyone access to every single committee that you are currently a part of, and then we'll go from there. We also have to talk long range planning next steps.
Please.
So I'm gonna reach out to you between this interim, we'll do maybe another one-on-one, and then after that, we're gonna get the larger committee going, but we'll have more members joining to that, and you and I should align on who, when, how we do.
But also, again, as appropriate. Yeah,
Yeah, no, we're gonna need to. It'll become a bigger thing,
issue.
yeah,
Mm.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, to move on,
Mhm.
okay, I had foundation on here, did I have it, or did I add it? Oh, it didn't get printed in this version. The foundation is meeting, do you wanna, did you see my text with me?
I did, yeah. I did a presentation last year, you know, whatever you think's
Feel like it's-
appropriate.
Appropriate, I would like for you to do that,
Sure.
okay.
When are they meeting?
There is a, it's gonna be next week, are you okay for Tuesday or Wednesday?
I have to double check my calendar.
Okay, it's either probably Tuesday or Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and I am gonna propose black tie. Formal invitation, has to be sent certified mail. Apparently it's up to me whether Tim has to present anything, which I think is very bizarre. And I don't quite understand it, but it sounds like they were just gonna give us the money even if you didn't.
I don't know what else they would do with it.
I think we should do a formal presentation of something.
Well, again,
You don't
I'd like
think
to hear
anybody else.
what
They can't get it from us.
use has been made of the money to give us.
And that's what I was gonna say is in my report to the foundation, it will be how last year's money was spent and then what we'll do with this year's money.
Yes.
I think we should stick to tradition.
Yeah.
It seemed very informal.
Do we know how much, or we won't find out until the
I
meeting?
do, it's 32,000.
Oh, got it, okay.
Yeah, it's 32 something.
Okay.
Is that what they have, is what the ask is?
What they have.
Yeah, I can one at some point, that would be easier, here it is. It is 32,912.02.
Oh, okay.
32,912 and 2 cents.
2 cents.
Yeah,
Got it.
Look at you doing minutes while meeting.
yeah, thank you.
No, and that's all you get. No,
Be bothering you in January.
Oh, that-
I was about to say, we need to do training.
I will, whatever you need, you just reach out to me and we can.
Don't
get
ditch
you
and
there.
run.
I won't, I won't.
And then if you need Lindsay and I to help with uploading to YouTube or again, we could do that.
Oh, I don't do any.
I was
Yeah.
just
gonna
gonna
say,
say,
we'll do.
Yeah.
So Lindsay is so unbelievably incredible,
Mhm.
and that is where I'll leave it.
She's like an octopus with 15 octopus on.
She's.
I don't know, the image just
She's-
came to my mind.
She's very good.
we'll get it, we'll look at her little octopus. Okay. We're almost done, we're getting there, okay, it's 7:44. Next new business item, trustee code of conduct and ground rules. By the way, the first time I did this agenda, it was 3.9 hours, so we are coming in under.
With the goal to get it, right?
Getting there, code of conduct and ground rules, in your packet, you should have a copy of this.
Oh, yeah.
And
Can
we
you
should
give
have
me the
already reviewed it and
Yes.
read it last time,
Yes.
can everyone sign that
At the,
and return it?
I didn't think I had a paper copy either, but I did read it
So,
because I wrote it with help.
I mean, this page, if you had one, you don't. need it.
I can go.
Yeah, please, how many extras do we need? So we're not wasting space.
Page. I think we just need for those people that markets.
Right, so you have one.
If it's just one
Us
more,
too?
then what?
What days is it on? Yep. No. You want the signature page or the whole thing?
I think we just need this. It's a good question.
Oh, there it is.
I might, well, it doesn't have the title in it, does it? If
I'll give you the whole thing.
Hey, attorneys, do I need just the signature page or the whole thing?
As long as we,
Oh, just a signature.
yeah,
page,
with the
but-
signature page.
Anyway.
Have those together.
Official.
Do we still need a copy?
Yes,
Oh, we still need a copy?
yeah, I don't have.
Oh,
it. Sorry.
okay.
Yeah. You
I
want-
can take.
got one?
Yes.
Thank you.
You can just photograph the signature page too.
And there's also a random blank page in there because.
If you could actually do me a favor and just send me a copy. Or I can scan it and send you, give you the original.
A copy of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't we have folders for this search, or we're trying, we're in work?
That's, I'm gonna talk to him about that because I wanna understand where the training is documented.
I know, because I think mine's just a folder with my name on it, and that's where I put my New York State section of Rosalind, but I was like, I don't know. So I made a post-it note, because I was like, this isn't clear,
Yeah.
because when you
Yeah.
go into training in the shared files. It's like a couple videos of stuff we did with Upper Hudson, but I don't see it where it's a clear pathway.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, there's no clear pathway, so something tells me we're missing that.
Okay. I got it. What you'll notice on the agenda up here, it says Board of Trustees ground rules, and it has a colon linking to nothing, because I would like to get that put to the website so that we can have that there and then link to it. Does that work? So on the agenda, we'll have our little ground
I mean,
rules
really.
at the top of the agenda. Next time,
Really stuff in
once it's on the website. So that's an action item for me to communicate to Lindsay or you that we gotta get just the ground rules posted to the board page.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You know what, I have your whole, or do you wanna keep it? If you wanna.
I can always post print it again, something. I know what it's like,
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, word that.
And we're gonna double check everyone's numbers. Okay. Thank you. Who am I missing? Maria, you're
Me,
reading that.
missing me, but I'm just waiting on the copy, and then did you sign it? Oh, you did too,
Yeah.
okay, so the two of us. I will say with this public information officer, if we can like totally overload that website. Make it more user friendly, that would be.
I'm curious if they're gonna hold here to a full platform website. I mean, WordPress is fine, it's just the type functionalities. Don't, because what I do professionally, I just ignore it.
Yeah.
I have to, it's the only way I can sleep. Okay. Do we have any, can we do community, can we move?
Yeah.
Do we have community feedback? I got one from Tim, I don't know if you guys did, about a 3D printer.
Oh,
So, someone wanted to know.
They have 3D printer?
Yeah, I want to read this. We don't have one, but they wanted us to have one.
This is
Right, so, yeah, let me read it.
That was Tim.
No, so Tom forwarded good afternoon, Tom. Thank you for reaching. Thank you for reaching out. So this is from Thomas Cooper, and he said, at this time, the public library does not currently offer a makerspace with a 3D printer due to space limitations.
Yes.
Once the construction, wait, no, I'm so sorry. I'm wrong. This is Tim's response to Tom. I have to go back to Tom's email. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Okay, this is from Tom to Tim. Hello, my grandson who lives in Lansingburg is interested in 3D printing. Love that. Does the library have anything that might be available to him to pursue this interest? Does the library have a 3D printer that the public can use? If you had a 3D printer, would you make it available to the public along with some instruction on how to use it? By the way, do you have a library of things? My local library has one, and it's very useful and would be even more useful, I think, in Troy. Thanks. I formerly lived in Troy and have very positive memories of the library, and it's fantastic. So you have a grandparent wanting to see the host for their child in Lansing. And they can't vote, but they're here. And I love that email, so I just want to share that community feedback. You did point to the Center of Gravity, and the Lansingburg Boys and Girls Club just had a 3D printer donated to them.
Interesting.
By Chris Claus, who has now purchased 3 in his life.
yes.
Might have a
And you Albany, we just got to think about it today. They're offering a bunch of stuff on 3D printing and some other things too. So makerspace on the move. So even if you're trying to do something that's like pop up. Jason, if you want this information, I'll send it to you.
This is one of those things where like makerspace. So I worked at the Fayetteville Free Library, which was the first library in the public library in the country to have a makerspace. The director was awarded a Presidential Medal of Freedom by Obama. And just Fayetteville has always had just a premier like making program. There's also the Phelps Library in Western New York that did a lot with micro and dirty jobs, but really like having like CNC routers and a kiln and like there's all kinds of things that you can do with it. As far as like the trends in maker spaces, it is something, again, if the community's interested in it, I'm all about it. And just trying to find a way to make it work within the space and, community partners, whether it's, well, and I in California was, again, my library was flooded. We did a $4.5 million grant, but we were working with Procter and Gamble and the local port. The port was a $14 billion industry. And then one of the former mayors had donated a 3D printer to the library, so his family foundation was very involved. So there's a lot of like workforce development related things that I would like to do through maker labs and those type of partnerships, right? So what would it look like to have some type of maker lab at Lansingburg that then helps people get jobs at Regeneron or RPI or other, big, NVIDIA, big tech industries, things like that. Evelyn, it looked like you had.
This has been discussed in past boards that we're under this understanding that I'll call the library, the home use version of a 3D printer don't last that long, aren't that reliable, and we have the center of gravity with a very professional setup there, that the idea is hopefully to work with the center in letting patrons, library patrons use theirs, or have some sort of.
I'll say a big problem with the library at Troy is because the library kind of diffused that responsibility out into the community, whether it was by not providing an adequate makerspace and having something like Tech Valley pop up, by not providing English as a second language classes, and then having other community organizations pop up. We've put ourselves in a position where we don't get brought to the table as a community partner because everybody has diminished the role of the library is, because again, we've outsourced that because we're just so focused on taking care of the building. So it is a challenge now to try and bring some of that stuff back under the umbrella of libraries, and I agree with you that we, if people do it better than us, we should be relying on their expertise and their tools. So this email is like, it's an interesting like talking point when it comes to operations and how we do things. Because, a lot of people can't afford a membership to Tech Valley, right? So then do we do some type of a, museum pass program to help people get the door in? And what is that like? So
Or
it's
the
all
or
possible.
the pop-ups too, because I
Yeah.
think some of these buildings and especially universities feel a little scary to a certain
Very.
groups of people
Mhm.
who have, who've not had experience there.
Yeah.
But the library is the communal space, so those pop-up things are good, and so that intentional and strategic partnership is huge, and this feels like long-range planning as well.
I'll also just quickly jump in and then get back to you, Evelyn. A lot of things in New York and California, libraries are very involved in robotics programs. So
Mhm.
whether it's Lego First Robotics and then having people graduate into the more advanced programs. Again, there was a national contest that was always held in my city in California that would have robotics programs for all over the country end up there. But so kind of related to maker spaces, right? We don't really have any inroads into, right? No one on staff has the experience running a library robotics program. We haven't really identified community partners.
Extension, it's who we
yeah.
work with and they're free,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
4-H does a huge robotics program.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they now have another one that they just added that we're getting along with like fiber programming, and like it's actually quite good.
So this is all to say that, yeah, long range programs, if people are interested in that, I can get the direction and run with it however we go.
And quick note,
Well, I'm sorry I cut off that one.
Oh, it just,
Yeah.
the addendum to this, we can stay at the table by being sort of that hub with our strategic partners and places that can do it better than we may ever be able to do certain things with equipment and personnel, and ideas. But still offering them something in return of offering the public anything, so we are that hub. And therefore always at the table.
I will note that it's the second time it's been brought up. Someone in the community brought it up to me about a month ago. And since our last meeting, but it's also because, at least at, School 14, they have a 3D printer in their library. And so it's interesting because I think the kids now think that's what goes in a library.
Well, that's part of it too, is, ultimately, in many of the libraries that I was working in, we were moving away from it because it was so prevalent in the schools. So that it was, we couldn't keep up with the staffing, having the time to do all the work with related to the filament. It is very high maintenance. And then if there's staff turnover, the people that you've trained on how to operate the equipment are gone and, exactly. Yep. So. All of it, so.
So that was community feedback. Thank you. So
But you do know the people at the Center of Gravity?
Yes.
Yeah, well, and Elizabeth is gonna join our long range planning and development work.
Pardon?
Elizabeth, what is her actual role? She was one of the candidates for the trustee.
Right, I remember.
Yeah.
So she's a center for gravity.
Yeah. But she specifically said she wants to do more strategic partnership work with us, right? Especially with potential joint like grant opportunities.
Ooh, money.
Yes. Okay, any other community feedback? Any gratitude, we enjoy it. All right, public comment? No. Yes.
Just quick,
Yes.
just to make sure that everyone understand, the January 12th. No, I mean, yeah. Sorry, December, the Monday, third Monday, trustee training, core training,
Core training.
definitely.
What do you guys are saying about it?
I'm working in 3 months and you're crazy times. Is for anybody, everybody, and it's not just us, it's other libraries too.
You did get the link, right? Did you get a link?
I got one.
Okay, I can send you the link.
Please.
Yeah, do you need to be okay? Thank
Yes.
you.
Although probably I will stick to what I explained, I have
Yeah,
another
yeah.
commitment.
Yep.
Otherwise I would have bonded with everybody here.
I mean, it's virtual, there will be some exchanges, but
Yeah.
it's not a huge bonding opportunity.
That's what I kind of figured.
Okay.
Not like I had to take
PowerPoint to
time
that
already.
with the
Yeah.
notes.
What's a form? But I want to take it again as a new director, so.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, we did a real
It-
one.
It's always good to
Yeah.
refresh and find out new perspective. And if
Let
there's
us know
anything
how it goes.
Would all of,
What?
I have another thing, I'm gonna send you that as an email, it has more to do with staff recognition and potentially the board doing a small thing for staff. And the week for. So.
Who? I'm kidding.
So I was wondering if we could just know each other about that one, just see what we can do. Okay.
I heard nothing.
And the rest of this month is nutty, so if I, for some reason, don't get back, like, you can, please, no, everyone should know, nudge me if I ignored you, it's not on purpose.
We're in the holiday slide, from
Yes,
here until
this
New
is-
Year's, so good.
Yes,
Thank you for reducing some of the meetings and allowing us to kind of have that. Strange month anyway. It's been a weird month. All right, are we okay to adjourn?
Mhm.
I'd like to make a motion, the next the next day of the meeting is January 13th at 5:30 PM. And a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Evelyn wants it.
there we go.
And all in favor?
Hi.
Thank you. That was a lot of business, let's not do that with business next time.